What's up, Manap? Welcome to today's tutorial. So this at this juncture, I am going to um, introduce to you the one of the most important um, SQL constraints in every table, which is a primary key. So a primary key is basically a combination of not null and unique. I have actually shown you that one before, but to give you a formal definition of primary key is used to it's actually a column or that uniquely identifies a certain row or a certain record. Okay, so most of the time when we get to create a table, it must have at least one primary key and most likely one primary key, but we can have actually two or three primary keys. Okay, so upon choosing which one is the primary key, most usually or ideally something that has ID is what I get to choose as a primary key. Okay, so let's say for an instance, I'm going to create a table, let's say table TBL product. Okay, so I have here table product. So I have here prod ID, prod name, and then let's say prod quantity. Okay, so right here I am going to have here like int of like 12, and then I'm going to set this one as primary key. Okay, so I have here also as var car. I'm going to have this 30, and for my quantity I have here tiny int, okay, up to 3 or 5. Okay, so I'm going to set this one as not null, and since it's a product, I would need to make this as unique. Okay, the not null, unique, and then for the quantity, the default as like 0. Okay, whenever we don't set or specify a value for our product quantity. So this time you have here the product ID as your primary key. All right, so enter or hit enter for you to create our table product, which product ID is of primary key. So we have here TBL product. There you are, you have here primary key. Okay, so again, this works the same when you are going to combine unique and not null. Anyway, so let's get to insert a record. Let's say we have insert tbl, insert into tbl product, and then values. Let's say we have here one, product one, and then product name is, let's say, Samsung or cell phone or smartphone. Taba? Smartphone. Okay, and then I have here quantity, let's say one, okay, or five or something like that. Okay, whenever I'm going to enter another, let's say smartphone 5 of that value, or even if I do have another the same name, let's say uh, Howell. Okay, I have here 10. So primary constraints or constraint is actually working or doing its purpose. So I can change this to 2. So I have here air towel. So since we assign our product name as unique, therefore, even if we have the two, I mean, even if our primary key is unique, but with our towel, since it's also unique, then we could not um, have added, or we could not add another entry for towel with that name. Okay, so let's say we have towels, okay, towels or something like that one. Okay, so we can actually enter values. Okay, so now um, if you guys want to remove the to drop the value, or let's say drop the, what you call this one, primary key. Of course, you can always do that. Alter table TBL product drop a primary key. Okay, so when you do this, of course, you will have, upon describing the table TBL student, no, product or product, you have here, you don't have any more primary key, but your name is actually in a primary key. But I mean, because we assign this as not null and unique, di ba? Earlier, remember, we assigned this product name as not null and unique. So therefore, it's actually a primary key. Okay. So again, if you are going to add or alter the table, which is you want to add a primary key. Okay, so of course this one is going to accept duplicated value now for our product ID. We will not try, basta it's going to accept. So this time we are going to set the product ID as our primary key. So we can always do that. Okay, and then let's describe another or the table. It's this time it's going back to have the label as primary key, and then the product name is going to be changed as like unique, because we already have a primary key. Okay, all right. um Now what if, uh, we're going to create another table. Let's say, um a create table dbl, and what do we have here? Let's say product ng Japon. Sige, location na lang. Okay? And then, so we have here the city. Okay? And then, at the same time, we have the barangay, say the province. Okay? So let's say we have this columns, and then we want the city and the barangay to be primary key. So we can always do that by, so let's have here primary key. I no. So we can actually put this as like a varchar, 30, and then this one is varchar also. So this is 30, and then we have here for the province varchar, and then we have here 30. And then this time we're going to assign primary key for both city and barangay. So let's hit enter and describe the table location. So at this juncture, we have two primary keys. Actually, this is what we call composite key. I'm going to discuss that composite key thing in our ERD. So assuming you have already an idea of what this composite key all about, actually there are a lot of keys. We have candidate key, enterprise key, composite key, unique key, and all this key we tackle in entity relationship diagram. And that's what makes our uh, relational database uh, have a strong or tight relationship with any other table. Okay, so if you plan the right way or the right database in your the right relationship between the tables in your database, I guess uh, your I mean that's actually beneficial to an organization. Okay, so all right, so this time the two must be what they call this one. The two fields or columns must be evaluated as unique. The city and the barangay. If you that's this one is actually the same with what we did earlier, but we can actually do this, or I can actually demonstrate it to you. Insert into TBL location, and then I have here, let's say Davao or city as Davao. Okay, and if I do have barangay here, let's say Toril, then Del Sur, there you are. So what happened? So we have here Davao del Sur, use near, I sorry, values. Okay, we lack values. I'm just quite excited. Okay, location. What happened? TBL location. Location. Insert into TBL. Okay. In Windows, it's actually not case sensitive. Only in the Linux based OS. Because I have here uppercase N instead of lowercase. Anyway, so if I'm going to repeat this like to of course Turel and Delsor will be, we actually violated the constraint, and then let's say I have here Matsina or Matina, so it's still the same. If I do have here, let's say Tagum, I have Matina, it's actually allowed, and I have, if I do have here like Tagum Matina, it's not going to be processed. So let's say we have Turel, Tagum and Turel are actually not the same, because meaning there's barangay there's barangay Turel in Tagum and in Davao. So these places are, or locations are actually different. Okay, so but they are of the same province, something like that. Okay, so select from TBL location. Yeah, so that's having two primary keys in our table. Sir, can we have three primary keys or four primary keys? Yes, of course, but I would recommend having only one primary key to one table. Okay, we can have two like composite key if this particular table is actually a bridge entity. It's actually a relationship that is converted into an entity. But yeah, we can discuss that one out in the ARD concepts. Okay, so that's why planning first before you enter the kingdom of love. Without planning first before you actually do some SQL scripts here in the physical level. So right now, I'm going to have another, let's say, database table. So let's say I have here TBL gender. So I'm just going to create gender. Let's say have ID. So at this in this case, ID for me to have at least I have a primary key for my gender ID. We actually call this as like a surrogate key, no? So yeah, so we can have here primary key, but this time I'm going to have this as auto increment. Auto increment. Okay, and then right here you have gender or something like gender title. Okay, and then you have car up to 6, and then okay, and then unique. Okay, so meaning male, there's only male, and female, there's only female. Transgender, there's only transgender, because this is you separate table for only for gender. So what happened? So I have here create table. So wala tay table na keyword. Actually gituyo na ko to siya para mag-error siya, para makita ninyo na mali. Okay? So, if you're really following it. Oh, mali gyapon. Mali akong spelling sa, wait, create table TBL gender, gender ID, primary key, auto increment, gender title, asang error, use near primary key, auto, okay, why don't have, so, pareha gyapon ako sa apot siya ning gituyo og mali. So, I have here int. So, let's say, okay, let's say have int na lang there. Okay, so let's describe the table gender. Okay, so it says here that the gender is auto increment. So if auto increment siya, you're going to insert a record to that, insert into TBL gender values. You have the option to actually include one or something like that, no? The male, and then you have, if you don't want to, you can actually set null. So the null thing there means it's going to be assigning the value of your gender ID to be an incremental in an incremental manner. So meaning to say from one it becomes two. So you have here the like female. Yeah. So of course we set the gender title to be unique. So meaning to say it cannot be like that. So let's say we have transgender, okay, or trans woman. So it seems like our gender title, yeah, because our gender title is already set to 6 characters. Therefore, we cannot accept transgender. Actually, I don't think, I mean, I'm not certain if in Windows it's going to be processed. Because there are some versions kasi in MySQL that it is processed. Only that it's going to truncate, or it's going to uh, only parang extract the characters that would fit in to that column. So meaning if there's 6, so the only accepted characters for here will be trans up to trans, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to trans J something in Ana. Okay. Anyway, let's have the select statement here. Select from TBL gender. So right there, you have one male and female. So whenever you insert none, let's say we have trans G, you have trans wo or something in an. So every time you do null, it's going to be um, incremented or in incremental manner. Okay. So as you can see also, you have here 2, 1, 3. What happened to the 3? What happened to the next value, which is a 3? It's might be because I'm not certain of this theory. It might be because of we have here as we insert transgender, okay, and then it's truncated, something like it is not successfully inserted, but logically it's actually inserted, but it's not being inserted physically. And I mean, that's how auto increment really works, no? So whenever it is deleted, it's going to proceed with the next increment value. So 3 is skipped, and then that's why it proceeds to 4 and 5. So whenever you delete a value, so I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove it to you. So let's say for an instance, I'm going to delete from TBL gender, where gender ID is equal to 5. So if I'm going to insert another record, let's say trans M, so when I view it, it's now going to be like 6. So that's how auto increment works. It's not, it's cascade. I mean, it's not going to reset its value from going back to 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So it skipped the value, or the value, once you deleted it, because that's how in auto increment works. Okay, so basta inaana siya mag-work. Okay, so that's for auto increment. Okay, so that's primary key and auto increment. So what else I do have to discuss here? I guess that would be all, and thank you guys for watching this video tutorial, and have a great day. Bye bye.